Hey guys, my name is Tito. I make videos on personal finance on my other channel. On this channel, I talk about other things. Like today, when I'll be reviewing the new Nollywood film that's on Netflix and in cinemas, Anikulapo. Anikulapo is about Saro, a young fabric maker who settles in a new town. There, he meets Arolake, one of the king's wives, and he falls in love with her. He also meets his untimely demise when their indiscretions are discovered, but he's brought back to life by a mystical creature and inadvertently receives the power to resurrect the dead. He starts a new life with Arolake in a new town, and as they begin to prosper there, he also becomes arrogant and he begins to take Arolake for granted as he starts to marry new wives. Saro's hubris eventually backfires when Arolake leaves him and he's no longer able to resurrect the dead. For those of you who've been watching my videos for a while, you know that I'm a fan of Kunle Afolayan's films. I've seen 6 of his films now. This one is the 6th. The first one was in 2010, The Figurine. Every other film by Kunle Afolayan that I've seen has been on Netflix. So I decided to go back to the cinema to see this one, Anikulapo, 12 years after seeing my first Kunle Afolayan film. Now, I should say that this review will contain spoilers, so if you haven't seen Anikulapo, please go and see it on Netflix or go and watch it in the cinema. I think it's worth your time. Kunle Remi plays Saro in this film. Later on in the movie, he's nicknamed Anikulapo, which means he who holds death in his pouch. Kunle did a good job. I mean, it was quite demanding. I like the way they changed his look from the tribal marks to him having a mustache, him being clean-shaven, him having a beard. They really showed the different phases of that character's life, and I really enjoyed it. His romance or his affair with Awarun, played by Sola Sobowale's character, I didn't see it coming. I was like, wow. And he seems to be like a ladies' man. He was pleasing all the ladies. There's no woman that had a taste of Saro that didn't come back for more. I found that to be hilarious, especially when Sola Sobowale's character, Awarun, was sending him food at work. She was very pleased with, whatever he was giving her, at night, whenever she snuck into his quarters. I digress. Kunle Remi did a good job. I think other actors may have been able to play that character Saro, but I don't think anyone would have done it as well as Kunle Remi did. The character was funny, but he wasn't even trying to be funny, and I really liked that. And I think there may actually be an award nomination for Best Actor for Kunle Remi for his performance in this film. Bimbo Ademoye was also fantastic as Arolake, one of the king's wives, and at the beginning of the film, I wasn't too sure where they were going with that character because they were showing us things going on in her life while they were simultaneously showing us things going on in Saro's life, and I like how they merged things eventually. I like the emotions, or how they conveyed the different emotions that Arolake went through. She was despondent in the king's palace as a despised wife, by the other wives. Then she was hopeful and in love once she met Saro and had this affair with him. And then they run away together. They're fearful for their lives. And they're happy once they start a new life in Ilu Ijumo. But to her surprise, and to mine as well, Saro betrays her and gets another girl pregnant and marries 2 wives and wants to take on a 3rd. I really didn't see that coming. So as you'd imagine, Arolake was very surprised, thinking of all that she'd done for this man, helping him start this new business that has made them prosperous in this new land, yet he would betray her in such a way. Bimbo did a fantastic job of conveying all those emotions. There's a very powerful scene, the scene where Saro slaps Arolake when they have that heated conversation in the middle of the night. That was a powerful scene. Once I saw that, I was like, yep, there's another set of Best Actress nominations coming Bimbo's way from this film. Fantastic performance. Now, Sola Sobowale plays Awarun in this film, this rich businesswoman in the village who takes Saro under her wing and under her sheets as well. And I really didn't see that affair between Saro and Awarun coming. I thought she was just being nice and, trying to help this visitor to their village, not knowing that she was looking to become a sugar mama. It was very interesting. The character kind of did give Eniola Salami vibes, Eniola Salami from King of Boys at a point, but I really loved how Awarun kept on keeping Saro in line and putting him in check to let him know what was going on here. She took care of him, got him, a house, got him good work and business where he eventually went to the palace and met the woman that he ran away with. But Sola Sobowale really did a good job. I liked it was something I've never seen from her and something I really wasn't expecting to see from her in this movie. Now, shout out to all the other actors that were in this film, even down to the extras. Something that I really like about Kunle Afolayan's films is his use of extras. Everybody's active and engaged and doing something on his sets. Kudos to the many popular Yoruba actors that were in this film. There are so many familiar faces. Kudos to Kunle Afolayan himself, the director, who made a cameo in the film, as he often does in his films. He even had lots of his family members in the film, because as I was watching the opening credits, I kept on seeing that surname, Afolayan, Afolayan, Afolayan. I think a few of his kids were also in the movie. Shout out to Bimbo Ademoye, aka Mr. Macaroni, who played Akonji. Shout out to Ronke Ojo, who played Olori Agba, one of the king's wives. Shout out to Arike Owolagba, who played Omowo, the girl that got pregnant for Saro. By the way, if this film gets to #1 on Netflix in Nigeria, it will mean that Debo Adedayo, aka Mr. Macaroni, and Ronke Ojo are in the #1 film on Netflix and the #1 film in cinemas as well, i.e. Brotherhood. And that would be quite impressive. What I liked the set pieces and the set design. If you're used to Kunle Afolayan's films, you know that he likes really flamboyant and elaborate sets, especially when he makes his films outside of Lagos. He really likes to establish those scenes and make them accurate to the times in which they were filmed, or in which they depict, I should say. I liked the marketplaces in this film, the courtyards, the king's palaces, even the bedrooms where many of those scenes were filmed. I really liked them and how things were staged to look accurate to the times. I also liked the costumes in this film. They looked really nice. I liked the colors. I also liked the acting. Another signature in Kunle Afolayan's films is how he gets his actors to perform, with a bit of oomph, with something extra. I always say that the performances or the acting in his films are similar to the acting that you see on stage, because on stage, things are turned up a notch. And he does the same with his movies. And I just really like the acting and the emotions and the way actors in his films act, not just with their words, but with their faces and with their bodies. There's a lot going on to the right degree in Kunle Afolayan's films when it comes to the acting. Finally, I loved the story in this film. This is a tragic love story and a cautionary tale, because in the film, you see how Arolake falls in love with this guy, sticks with him or stays nearby while he's getting beaten to a pulp, is there when he gets resurrected, is there with him as they run for their lives in the wilderness for weeks. Then they try and start a new life together with her, showing him how they can actually do that, giving him the charm that he uses to bring people back from the dead. He uses it and they become very prosperous in the land of Ilu Ijumo. She did a lot. She was loyal, she loved him, she was there for him, she stuck by him, only for him to repay her kindness and her loyalty with betrayal. And there was this very strong message there, because this is a very common thing that happens in day-to-day life around the world, not just in Nigeria. How, people, particularly men, throw away or betray their lovers' trust with infidelity and adultery just for a night, or maybe several nights in some cases, of action or pleasure with some other woman, with some random booty. So I liked how the film told that story or communicated that message. It was a bit predictable. We did know that she was going to leave eventually. We did know that towards the end of this film, this guy's luck would run out and the charm would stop working. But I just love how the story was told. I love how they took us on that journey with Saro being so careless and not even thinking about what he was doing, about how Arolake would feel, and about how this could all backfire at the end of the day. Love the film. I don't even think there's anything about the movie that I didn't like about it. Who should see it? See Anikulapo if you like Yoruba films. There's a huge audience for that here in Nigeria and in diaspora. If you also like films that are set in like the ancient Yoruba kingdom, that's almost like a whole subgenre on its own, then you should see this film. Also, see this film if you enjoyed King of Thieves, which came out a couple of months ago. This film is similar to that film, but only in the sense that they speak Yoruba throughout in both films, and that the fact that they're both set in like the ancient Yoruba kingdom. That's as far as the similarities go. And if you ask me, I actually prefer Anikulapo. And I'm curious to know, which of the two films do you guys prefer? King of Thieves or Anikulapo? Let me know in the comment section down below. Finally, see this film if you're a fan of Kunle Afolayan's films like, Citation or not Christmas in Lagos. I don't even count Christmas in Lagos when I talk about Kunle Afolayan's films. Anyway, moving on. Citation, The Figurine, Swallow. There's a good number of them. if you're a fan of Kunle Afolayan's movies, you understand his style and the fact that his films can be a bit of a slow burn. He takes his time and he likes to try and tell comprehensive stories in his films, and he tries to develop characters. It's very different from many of the mainstream films that we see from Nollywood. I think that's the point I'm trying to make. So if you're used to Kunle Afolayan's style, then I think you will enjoy this film as well. I saw this film at the cinema, and apparently there was a love scene in the film, or some nudity in the film, which wasn't shown in the cinema version for obvious reasons. And I got online. I didn't even know about the nudity until I got on social media later on in the day, and I saw people going back and forth about whether the nudity in the film was necessary. I don't think it was. I think it was a very complete film even without it. I enjoyed the version I saw, the clean version I saw in the cinema. Anyway, kudos also to Kunle Remi and Bimbo Ademoye. I really would like to see Kunle Remi in more action roles and in more really good films, basically. I don't think we see him enough in good Nollywood films. And you know how people are raving currently about how good an action star Toby Bakary is because of his performance in Brotherhood? I think Kunle Remi has the potential to be a really good action star as well. He just has the look, and he has the drive and the passion, I think, and I really hope he can get some really good roles to play an action star, you know, in some Nollywood films. Kudos to Bimbo once again. She had another really big film, sort of, come out on YouTube. She was in Selena 2 that came out earlier this week. Selena 1 came out a few months ago. It's on YouTube as well. It did really well. So they did the sequel, which came out this week, and part 3 is coming out next week. I hope to review part 2 if I can find the time sometime this weekend. Thank you guys so much for watching this review. If you enjoyed it, please like it by clicking on the like button just underneath the video, and subscribe to my channel as well by clicking on the red subscribe button. On this channel, I don't just do Nollywood movie reviews. I also talk about relationships. To check out some of my past movie reviews or my past relationship videos, you can click the card in the corner of the screen. I even hope to make some Anikulapo inspired relationship videos in the very near future, because there are some, you know, relationship lessons in that movie, if you ask me. Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been awesome. I thoroughly enjoyed this film and this review. I hope you did too. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.